Frank the Tank Fleming from Barstool Sports today on Locked On A's.
You are Locked On A's, your daily Oakland A's podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On A's, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. I am your host, Booney. That's right, one name, like Madonna, like Prince, one name. Episodes will drop Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. That's Oakland time, Vegas time, and Sacramento time. Whether you are on your way to work, driving back from work, or listening casually during the day, thank you for making Locked On A's your first listen of the day. I'm from the Bay Area, and I've been a die-hard A's fan since 1981. I'm here to bring you a real fan's take, covering everything from Oakland to Sacramento to Las Vegas. This is the place for A's fans to get the latest game breakdowns, team news, and more. This is where the passion of the fans take center stage. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. And please hit that subscribe button wherever you are following the show. This episode is brought to you in part by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Today, we are thrilled to have a very special guest who needs no introduction to our A's loving listeners. Joining us is none other than Frank the Tank Fleming, a Barstool Sports icon, an unfiltered sports enthusiast, and of course, one of the most die-hard Mets fans out there. Known for his passionate takes and unforgettable rants, Frank has become a go-to voice for fans who appreciate honesty and aren't afraid to keep it real. In this episode, Frank brings his signature candor as we break down some of the biggest headlines in baseball today. Of course, it wouldn't be a conversation with Frank the Tank without talking about his beloved New York Mets. This season has been a roller coaster with more than its share of ups and downs and downright frustrations. Frank has been with the Mets through thick and thin, and in this episode, he shares his thoughts on Francisco Lindor as a possible National League MVP. Who does Frank want to see the Mets sign in free agency? And where does he see them heading next? That's later. First, one of the hottest topics in all of sports, the Oakland A's leaving their longtime home and moving to Sacramento and potentially Las Vegas. A move that has shocked the baseball world and left many fans questioning, how did Major League Baseball get away with this? Frank's got some strong feelings about this change, and as usual, he doesn't hold back. From the financial challenges in Oakland to what this means for loyal A's fans. Frank's perspective is a must-hear for anyone who cares about the heart and soul of America's pastime. If you're a Mets fan, A's fan, or just love a good sports rant, buckle up. Frank's unfiltered take is one you won't want to miss as we open up with Frank's take on the state of baseball today.
It's not in good shape. You got a commissioner who is weak. I don't even think he likes baseball. He doesn't certainly. He definitely doesn't revere the game. He really is incompetent. He is terrible. He basically lets owners walk all over him. Does nothing to help promote the game. The league is not promoted well. The state of announcing in baseball is pretty bad. It's a mess. The sport of baseball is kind of in a bad spot right now, and a lot of it has to do with just how weak that commissioner is. Because what happened with the A's should never have happened. Now we got two teams next year going to be playing in minor league ballparks.
The commissioner right now, though, what's the solution? I mean, he works for the owners. He's getting paid a salary of $17.5 million a year, bonuses, all said and done. He's making 25 million a year. I mean, if
What
you
needs
put
to
me,
happen is the league's his salary should only be based on if the league's profitable, and the owners need to realize that they got to be partners with the players. They can't. You're billionaires in every other aspect of your life. That's why you're able to afford this team. And if you make 2-3 million profit, yes, you did good. And if you realize that having a contending team, a winning team, build your audience. Allows you to build your TV audience, build everything else, and just going out there and minimum salary requirements, and your stadium's half empty. No one's watching games at home. That's how you're struggling.
do you think the Players Association's weak?
No, it's strong, but it's not as strong as it used to be.
Question: if the Mets were to move like the A's are moving, would you still be a fan? Would you still root for them, or would they be dead to you?
That would be rough. I mean, I can't even imagine the Mets moving. I mean, it's New York City. They got a fairly new stadium, and
Hypothetically, the
that
Rhode Island Mets,
what was that?
the Rhode Island Mets, let's say, just hypothetically.
Yeah, that would be a tough one. That would be a tough one for me to follow them.
So we have the A's are in a predicament right now where they literally don't have a fan base, right? We have the Oakland fans that are furious that if you support the A's in Sacramento, you're a traitor. They're dead to any part of Oakland. At the second time, you have Sacramento, who knows that the A's are just a stepping stone for them to go to Las Vegas. And then you have Las Vegas that is still 3 years away, if it happens at all. So we literally don't have any type of fan base whatsoever.
And this is because of what Rob Manfred has done. The fact that John Fisher got away with what he got away with
Yeah.
is bewildering. And now the problems with Oakland go deep. They go deeper. They go beyond John Fisher. Truthfully, the solution to this whole mess would have been 30 years ago. When you got the Raiders back from Los Angeles, you tore down the beauty of what was that ballpark, and you put up Mount Davis.
Oh God, yeah, you're right.
And over the next 20 years, you did nothing for the A's. And the A's, anytime they wanted something done for the ballpark, they had to ask the Raiders, and the Raiders would say no. At that point, and I know San Jose was looked at as an option, and that whole thing was bizarre.
Because of the rights that went to the Giants.
Which doesn't seem right to me. I mean, it's like, no, that should belong to both teams. And if Oakland wants to move to San Jose, they should have been allowed to move to San Jose.
What's ironic about that is that when the Giants were considering moving to Tampa Bay, the Haas family gave the rights to from San Jose to the Giants in order for them to incentivize them to stay in San Francisco. Now, when the A's needed it back, the Giants wouldn't give it back. I mean, the bottom line is Bud Selig.
People talk about John Fisher. Now, he's a villain. But there's so many villains in the A's crumble.
The Giants have some blood on their hands as well.
No doubt about it. They have a lot of blood on their hands.
Yeah.
I mean, the bottom line is the fairest, best solution. Because I know I went to Oakland, and that city is a mess. That city can't afford to even think about building a ballpark.
The Oakland Coliseum is life after people, as a quote that you said that stuck out.
Yeah, it's a bad stadium. It's a
Yeah.
stadium that you can't play there anymore.
Right.
You can't fix that stadium. In fact, the cost to renovate the stadium would be just about the same about as building a new stadium because the amount of renovations that have to be done, the upgrade, the modernization of everything. I was struck last year, and I actually asked somebody on the grounds crew, why are the A's the only team that doesn't have a railing on their dugout? And the answer is this: if they put a railing on the dugout, they would be required to make the ballpark ADA compliant, and the ballpark was not ADA compliant.
Wow.
I
Wow.
mean, that's why they never put railings up on that ballpark.
It's nuts. It's
I
just
mean,
absolutely nuts.
I mean, Mount Davis was an eyesore. You took that little hill, that little
Beautiful.
knoll.
Beautiful.
Was nice. It was
Beautiful.
nice. Yeah, you had a a nice little ribbon scoreboard.
Mm.
Somebody you saw the hills in the background. It gave the ballpark character, and it's not had that for 30 years.
No, it has
30
not.
years, the A's languished in that ballpark, and Oakland is a city that is now in debt. It's broke. The city can barely help the people out on this. I mean, I saw empty lots of RVs,
Yeah.
including one just outside the gate of the ballpark by the BART station.
Right.
And so putting the stadium in Oakland wasn't a solution unless someone philanthropic wants to like build that terminal project.
Howard Terminal. Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
No.
And that terminal project actually was quite nice.
It was very nice.
I mean, you could have put it maybe in a suburb, but that could have helped. But the bottom line is the A's needed a new ballpark. Oakland can't afford a new ballpark. And this problem was put off, ignored. The city of Oakland is almost as much to blame as John Fisher because, they had 30 years of just ignoring the A's, and finally John Fisher got to the point where, and Major League Baseball got to the point where we want a team in Vegas. You're going to Vegas.
This episode is brought to you in part by SelectQuote, the World Series, Super Bowl, the Olympics. The world's top athletes get to play in these top level sporting events thanks to one thing: teamwork. And teamwork can also protect your financial legacy and your family's future. SelectQuote's licensed insurance agents are the perfect teammates when shopping for customized, affordable life insurance. They can find you the right policy to keep your financial legacy safely in your family's end zone. The importance of having strategies to win in both sports and life, and that leading strategy for life is having the best life insurance on your bench. With SelectQuote to protect your legacy and your family's future. In sports, winning is everything, and that's why you always need a good strategy to keep you moving towards the goalpost. Winning strategies for life are just as important, and that's why on my team, I have life insurance through SelectQuote to protect my legacy and my family's financial future. SelectQuote is one of America's leading insurance brokers with nearly 40 years of experience, helping over 2 million customers find over $700 billion in coverage since 1985. Get the right life insurance for you for less at selectquote.com/lockedon. Go to selectquote.com/lockedon today to get started. That's selectquote.com/lockedon. Don't you think this started with Selig as well? I mean, Selig's wanted the A's out for 20-something years.
Yeah, Selig, Rob Manfred is Bud Selig's protege. Bud I am offended that Bud Selig's in the Hall of Fame.
Oh my God,
Marcus
it's one of
Pryor is
Kyle.
not in the Hall of
Stop.
Fame
Yeah.
for using
Yeah.
steroids. Bud Selig allowed him to use steroids. Bud
Absolutely.
Selig allowed the steroid era. And the fact that he's in the Hall of Fame, Clemens not, Bond's not, A-Rod not. I mean,
Yeah.
these producers should be in well before that asshole.
The hypocrisy of baseball is nutty when you're talking about it in those terms. Absolutely
Bud
crazy.
Selig did nothing to help the game of baseball.
Nothing. No, absolutely right. And for
And
him
Rob
to
Manfred's his little protege. I 100% agree that Bud Selig was just as bad as Rob Manfred. The only difference is I don't think Rob Manfred actually cares about baseball. Bud Selig did care about baseball, but not Rob Manfred.
the worst mistake Major League Baseball ever did was allowing baseball to come to Oakland. He said they have done nothing after they won four World Series, 72 to 74, and the 89 title. And he started the mess with baseball, in my opinion. So that's what kind of fires me up.
The 70s happened. Oakland was a different city back then.
It was. You're right.
It had
Industrial, had the
manufacturing.
jobs. Yes, sure.
You had you would never put a team in Oakland today.
You wouldn't.
In 1968, Oakland was kind of a vibrant city. It had blue collar community. You had the hoity-toity out there in San Francisco, but you had a blue collar existence in Oakland, kind of renegades. That's why the Raiders fit them so well, and that's gone. That's gone. All that manufacturing that used to be out there in Oakland. I think what was it, textiles they used to have out there, like
Yeah.
It was the East Bay Company. All these companies in Oakland, they're gone. They left they left the city because the city was too incompetent to keep the city. And it goes. The politicians are fucking. They suck. They cause all this. I mean,
That's throughout the country. Yeah, no question.
yeah. I mean, they did nothing. The politicians did nothing for Oakland, and the city crumbled and that's why you have the mess. And
the mayor just got recalled. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it's just,
well,
yeah, it's too bad.
yeah, that's what made and I'm not gonna. People talk about Oakland's lost their teams. Yeah, the Raiders. The Raiders used Oakland. They went back to Oakland for 30 years and 20 years actually for them. 20 years, and they said, okay, this city is not an NFL city anymore. We're going to the glitz and glamour of Vegas. And the Warriors, of course, you always you shared that team. That was never Oakland.
They were originally San Francisco.
Yeah, they were, and they're not. It's not like Oakland fans are going to miss them. They could hop on the BART and whatever can get out to watch a Warriors game. And
they're more, yeah.
They're still part. They're just as much part of Oakland as they are in San Francisco as they were when they were in Oakland.
They're more Oakland than the Niners are San Francisco. I mean, San Francisco's all the way in Santa Clara.
Yeah, they're down in Santa Clara. Come on.
That's a good hike, yeah. No question about it.
And the A's, if they would have went to San Jose, maybe Oakland fans some people would have been upset, oh, they're losing Oakland, but and maybe instead of calling them the San Jose Athletics, you would have called them the Bay Athletics or the Golden State Athletics. You could have
100%.
embraced the whole Bay Area. Yes, I know. So they could have done that. I think the best solution would have been the commissioner Selig to step in and say, San Francisco, shut the fuck up. The A's are moving to San Jose. Move on.
And they say a team that was stolen from a city, no question about it. I mean, a theft right in front of you. It was bad. It was really, really bad.
I mean, what happened to Oakland should never happen again. It's not like what happened with Montreal, where the city froze out baseball because of the strike and nobody wanted to come in and save it. This was a bleeding mess for 25 years that everyone just let bleed out. And you finally got to 2020 and you had to move them. I mean, there was no way they could stay in Oakland. But it was designed that way. It was pushed that way, and people set this up along the way. Maybe it was someone had a long game to move him out, but no, this was a long process. This didn't happen overnight, and there's a lot of villains in here.
I mean, we had Reggie Jackson and Bill Gates ready to buy the team, and Selig said no to them, gave it to his fraternity brother from the University of Wisconsin, and John Fisher. And, the crazy part is Leo Wolf was the minority owner, yet the face of ownership. And Fisher was just learning all along. And here we go. They executed a perfect theft. Today's episode is brought to you in part by FanDuel. When I personally look at a sports book, there are two things that are most important to me. Is it easy to deposit? And more importantly, is it easy to withdraw? FanDuel checks both boxes for me. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Hell of a year for the Mets.
Yeah.
What is your prognosis?
Well, they got to add. They got to build on it in the offseason, and depends what they're able to land this offseason. That would be basically my prognosis.
Who is your top 3 free agent dream list pickups for the Mets? They're talking about Burns. They're talking about Soto.
Soto, and if Pete Alonso walks, Christian Walker.
Yeah, no question. I think player for player, I think Christian Walker is a better player than Alonso. With the glove, I mean, he's a Gold Glover at first. Alonso's a little shaky. He doesn't have that power Alonso does, and if Alonso doesn't have that big bomb against Milwaukee, you're questioning what kind of year he did have. So
yeah.
But those postseason home runs and that home run itself goes a long way.
I have concerns about Pete Alonso's future. That he could be somebody who potentially gets the big money and gets a little,
right?
Lindor,
is he going to get MVP?
He'll get a couple of votes, I think. He'll finish second, but they're not going to ignore the 50-50.
No question about it. But you could make the argument that the Dodgers without Ohtani had a significantly better chance and percentage of winning the World Series than the Mets did of getting to the postseason without Lindor.
Yes.
So the question becomes, are we talking about who the best player is or who the most valuable player is? So,
I don't think they vote on most valuable player anymore. They now turn the most valuable player into the best player award.
Yeah. Because Lindor was something else. Else. Yeah.
The modern sports writer has changed what the MVP meant. If it was the old way, the old school way, Lindor would have a chance to win.
I don't want to take too much more of your time. I've been meaning to ask you, and I've watched it several times. It's one of my favorite documentaries. What did you think of the 30 for 30 on the 86 Mets?
I liked it. It was very well.
Yeah, I did too. What's your main takeaway from those teams? Is that your favorite teams looking back?
Yes.
Mets? Yes, no question.
If only the Mets didn't blow it in the NLCS, we could have had Mets A's 88.
Yeah.
They played in 73, but that was before I was born.
Yeah, that would. Believe me, I would have liked that as well. No Gibson, no Hershiser, so that would have been a lot better for everybody as well. Everyone knows you're a big Devils, Dolphins, Mets fan. Where does that rank on your list? Who would you rank 1, 2, 3 as far as your fandom to it? Are they both equal? Or I know you've been.
Mets are number one, and then Devils and Dolphins are about equal.
I hope baseball figures it out, man. I really do, because it's tough on everybody.
Yeah,
It's tough.
It's a mess right now, and they need to just fix everything.
Yeah.
And it starts with the commissioner.
100%. Yeah. Unfortunately, he's working for the owners, and the owners are just telling him what to do, and he's a damn puppet in this whole thing.
Yeah, well, the Major League Baseball owners are idiots.
No question about it. Frank, thank you, my friend. You take care.
All right.
All right, bud.
Thanks for having me on.
Hey, thank you for coming on. I appreciate your time. Thank you for making Locked On A's your first listen today. For your second listen, find Locked On MLB. Baseball guru Sully brings a daily blend of humor and baseball, keeping you updated on every rumor and story throughout the offseason. Find Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday.
You are Locked On A's, your daily Oakland A's podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.